All right, let's roll. You guys in class, you have the hard copy. You guys at home are going to go, obviously, you probably have, hopefully, and you pulled up, putting it all together, the assignment for today. Heath, you're just going to listen and you'll get it done when you get home, right? So we're putting it all together today. What are we putting together? We're putting supply and demand together on one chart, and we're going to be looking at some new things as well with regards to this chart. So we've been looking at lightsabers. I promised my daughter that I would not break her lightsaber, but here it is, the one, the only. It even makes little noises when you swing it around. So this is the one that we're going to be looking at today. And I want you to put yourself in a frame of mind. You're a 10-year-old girl. She's a little dark side. She doesn't like the princess, and she likes the evil princess. You know, she's unique. She's unique. I love her. So she likes the bad guys. So you're a 10-year-old. You're in Disney. You popped out of the ride. You just ridden the ride, and you popped out in the gift shop. All right, and we're looking at the laws of supply and the laws of demand. All right, the law of demand says as price goes down for this lightsaber, market demand, everybody's demand will go up, and vice versa. Supply says as price goes up, the Disney company will make more of these if they can sell them at a higher price, and vice versa. If they can only sell them for $25, they won't make as many. So now, how does that affect price and shortages and surpluses? And I'll take a look at that link you just sent me, so here in just a minute. All right.
I will gladly buy one of the actual plasma bladed lightsabers that someone made for $1,000.
Oh, nice. All right. So we got a couple key terms here that we got to knock off here before we get started. The first one is this thing called equilibrium price. This will be where supply and demand are most balanced, meaning this is going to be the price of the product. This is going to be the most seen price of the product. So remember, we're in Disney World, so we're going to have a little bit of an inflation of this product price. So you could find this for a little bit cheaper somewhere else, probably on Amazon, etc. But remember, demand, willingness, and desire. Once you get off that ride, two of the three things, right, are there. You're going to be the most willing, and your desire is going to be at its height. That's why they don't put the gift shop at the start of the amusement park. That's why they put them right in there right after you get off the ride. They're hitting two of the three demands. Okay, so what is a shortage? Shortages, these occur when demand is greater than supply. This happens at points below the equilibrium price. A shortage is going to occur when demand is greater than supply. If 100 people want one of these, but there's only 2 of them, you have a shortage of 8, right? And then a surpluses occur when supply is greater than demand. This happens at prices above the equilibrium surpluses occur when supply is greater than demand. This happens at prices above the equilibrium price. And we're going to be able to prove this through math today. Through some math. We're going to be able to look at it on a table and a graph. It'll be pretty cool. I'm just giving you just another minute here just to get these definitions. As you finish your definitions, remember we are at Disney World. We have just ridden the ride, and all of these kids all day long, we're going to be looking at market demand and market supply. So not just Lila, my 10-year-old, but all of the little kids that go through. All right, so I'm going to start to erase this. Yell at me if you don't want me to. Okay, give you another minute here. All right, everybody good? Okay. So let's look at, now what I've done is I've just made up a demand schedule. We got to obey the laws of supply and demand, which we're going to look at, and we're going to watch out for the scenarios. Remember those boxes, the demand, why demand would move around and why supply would move around? We're going to put that together today too. Here on your chart that you see, this is a table I've just made up for lightsabers. Okay, so I just made this up. I just made these numbers up. All I did was follow the rules of the laws of supply and demand. This is what you're going to do later. You're going to do your own later. Okay, so here they are. Well, what we can do now is we can chart this out. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to go, you guys will just go to your paper. I'm going to flip here. Let's go ahead and start labeling. You guys scroll down and you'll see on the back. You'll see on the back, there'll be a blank chart on the back. So you guys in class just flip the page and you'll see this. We want to label a couple things. We want to make a note of a couple things. Remember PQ should we want to label our price and quantity correctly. So these are going to be prices, these are going to be quantities. And you're going to use the numbers in the table. So the highest price is 100. So we're going to go here at 100. And we got 3 more. 75, 50, 25, 75. And then our quantities are, our lowest quantity is 500 and our highest quantity on that table is 5,000. So here, let's just say that's 500, and then that's 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. So we'll go 1K, 2K, K stands for 1,000, 3K, 4K, 5K, 6K. Again, I just got those numbers just off your table on your document. And now what we're going to do is we're going to chart these curves. But let me show you something real quick. I want you to go back to your table. The sellers are going to be Disney, okay? So the supplier, these suppliers are Disney. Okay, so these are the sellers. So let's make a note of that. This is Disney. So when you think supply, I want you to think Disney company. I'm going to use blue. You can use 2 colors if you have them. You got colored pencils there, or crowns if you want to. Okay? I'm going to use a couple colors today to help you out. Since this is red, I'm going to use buyers, I'm going to use the buyers as red, okay? So these are going to be the buyers. So when you think of demand, you're going to think of these kids and these as buyers, the kids and the parents. So red are going to be the demand, blue is going to be the sellers of Disney. So let's go ahead and chart this out. Look at your table. Let's do demand first. Let's do demand first. At $100, go up to 100. At $100, only 1,000 kids. Only 1,000 kids will buy this lightsaber for $100. 1,000 families. Let's say 1,000 families. So after they get off the ride, they go to the gift shop. And if you've ever been there, you know, but just imagine. And they pop out. The kid is super jacked, right? Their willingness, their desire is at its most. They got $100 of allowance, burning a hole in their pocket, and they see this for $100, and they're like, I don't care, let's do it. 1,000 of them do it. Okay. But what if the price was $75? Then all those kids that went through there that day would, about 1,500 kids would buy. What if it was only $550? Well, based on the chart, again, we just obeying the law of supply and demand. 2,500 kids on a day that would go through there. 2,500 would buy at $50 price point. Demand is going up, right? Market demand. What if this exact same lightsaber that makes the cool noise, it has really good weight to it, and it lights up, is only $25. Maybe they're having a big sale or something that day. Well, then based on our chart, 5,000 kids would buy a lightsaber at that price. Don't connect your dots yet, right? You want to find the dot that's closest to price. We always PQ, right? PQ. All right, now put your cursor, finger, or pen, pencil there. Now connect your dots. You're going down, D for demand. We're going D1. And we're going to label that D1. I'm going to switch colors. Now let's do Disney. The Disney Corporation producing or selling these at their gift shop off that ride. At $100, the seller is going to make 4,000 of them, which on the math curve, you go up to 100, out to 4,000. At $75, you're going to have a less profit motivation. They're only going to make about 2,000 of them. And then at $50, you go up to 50, and it looks like on the table, they make 1,000 of them. And then at $25, really don't have any motivation to make these or sell these at their gift shop. They might as well fill it up with something else other than these lightsabers, right? And they only try to sell 500 of them. This is the point closest to price. So put your pen, finger, cursor here. Connect your dots. You're going up. So that means that's the supply, because up is in the word supply. That's your supply curve. Now what we have is now we have two curves on the same graph for the first time. And I'm going to change colors. And look at key term number one. Equilibrium price is where the supply and the demand curve cross. So I want you to put a big old dot right there, and we're going to label this E1 for equilibrium price. Now, remember PQ, right? This is why I do what I do. PQ Shui. If we're going to go to the equilibrium price and find the equilibrium price, are we going to the left or are we going down? Would we go left or down? Good. I see a lot of fingers pointing to the left. Why? Because that's where prices are. Okay, so as you go, you will see, let's just call that $65. But if you went down, you're going to run not into prices, but you're going to run into quantities. And that's not is called equilibrium price, not equilibrium quantity, okay? So on the test tomorrow, make sure you don't go down when you're trying to find the equilibrium price. Go over to where the prices are. All right. Some students mess that up, so I like to preempt. All right. Look at, so I have a couple questions about this chart. 2B, if you look at 2B on your document, at what price do we have the largest surplus? Definition of a surplus. Right, good. The producer has more than the demand, okay? So check how cool this is. Watch this, okay, look. So you see, here's the equilibrium price. So math is sometimes cool. This is the day where I appreciate math. All the other days I'm like, yeah. Sorry, Matthew. Okay, watch how cool this is. As price goes up, look how much bigger supply gets. Okay, supply. Watch what happens to supply. Look how long the line is. What is happening? What's happening is there's less buyers, but there's more products, right? So Disney's like, holy crap, if we can sell them for $100, we will make 4,000 of them. You can see it on your table as well, right? But at $100, there's not 4,000 suckers out there. There's only 1,000 suckers out there. So what do you have? You have 3,000 of these things left over. And that's what that represents there, that big wide gap. There's 3,000 of these left over. If Disney makes 3,000 of these, or sorry, if Disney makes 4,000 or 5,000 of these right here, and they can only sell 1,000 of them, they're losing money. So what is Disney, the seller, what does the seller have to do with their expectation on price? Good. As price goes down, what does demand do? Go up. And then what happens to supply? See that? It gets less. Why? Because of the law of demand. So now the demander, the consumer, the kid, the parent is like, okay, not too bad. We'll splurge. It's Disney, right? Let's look at the flip. Let's look at the flip. At what price? Look at 2C on your paper, 2C. At what price point do we have the largest shortage? So 2B is obviously $100, right? Yeah. So obviously the largest price point that we have the supply surplus is 100. So you can pretty much figure out, well, now, very good. So Ashley's like, well, obviously then the prices that we have here, the largest shortage is going to occur at price point 25. Look how big that is. There are your consumers waiting in line. You see this on Black Friday, right? Black Friday, that's why you go camp out, because there's only so many of them at that price, right? So you have a line of demand. You have a line of consumers. Pretty cool, huh? All right, you can see it mathematically. All right, and then there's only, look at that. There's only 500 of these lightsabers, but at $25, the demand is 5,000. That means they're short 4,500 lightsabers. Well, heck, 500 kids are going to go there through there to that gift shop in the first hour of the park opening, right? So the other 4,500 kids that wanted to buy one of these, they're out of luck. There they are, all right, represented by the big gap. Pretty cool, huh? So what will these kids have to do with their expectation on price? If they want one of these, what are they going to have to do with their expectation? They're going to have to pay more. Their expectation, if you want one of these, all right, with the cool sound and everything, your expectation is you're going to have to pay more than 25 bucks. You won't find it for 25 bucks. You might be able to find one of these, the cheap ones, that don't make any sound, don't light up. All right. I mean, but come on, right? All right. So for this one, you're going to have to raise your expectation on price, and then watch what happens. Okay. Look at my red lines. What happens to the shortage? It decreases, and eventually the demand, the consumer will find the product. And at what price will most sellers and most buyers find this product at? $65, the equilibrium price. Now, will some sellers be able to sell for more? Yes, sometimes. Will some buyers have to buy at a higher price? Yes, sometimes. And then sometimes you might get lucky, right? There might be a sale that day. Okay. But the average equilibrium price is $65. Now, I asked my daughter how much she paid, and we were very close. It was actually the real life price of this thing was 50. It was like ended up being $51 after tax. Okay, so we weren't. I asked her last night. I was like, how much did you pay for that again? So not bad. All right, we're almost done. Hang in there, okay? Hang in. Now, you know that the demand and the supply curves move around, right? The demand and supply curves move around. So let me give you a mental break. Just for a second, let me erase this stuff. All right. So let's look at question number 3. It says, so there are, you know how yesterday, because the past couple of days, when you looked at just demand and just supply, those boxes, the 6 reasons why demand and supply curve shift around, I just picked one of them and I just made it up, okay? So I picked consumer taste. So you see in that box, it says effect on demand, and then I have something written there. Well, you're going to come up with, when I shut up and finish the lecture, when you do your own, you will just pick one of those 6 boxes and do one. All right, and tell me what the effect on demand is. Okay. Mine is a new Star Wars movie has come out and it is a big hit. Well, when we do that, when the new movie comes out and it's a big hit, what will the kids do? Will the kids' demand in D2 go up or down? It's going to go up. So let's reflect that. Instead of 1,000, let's say 2,000. Instead of 1,500, let's say, or let's say 3,000 there, let's say 2,000 here. Oh, sorry. Whoop, 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 whoop. See, sometimes even the teacher, you go too fast. Yep, we'll go 2,000, all right, because the price has gone down, right? We'll go 3,000, good. Let's say 4,000, we'll just keep it simple. And then let's say it jumps to 6,000. Why did the demand curve move? Because there was a new movie, right? And it was a big hit. Now, if it's a big flop and the movie sucks and everybody's like, Star Wars is garbage, then these would go down. But since it was a hit, once we rechart this, I'm not gonna waste your time. You guys will rechart it. Once you rechart it, though, you're gonna get a demand curve, as you know, that's going to shift to the right. It's going to have an increase in demand. What has happened to the new equilibrium price? Good. It's gone up. That makes sense, right? if Disney keeps their supply the same number at the same supply, and then you get off the ride and the kids have watched the movie, their desire and their willingness has gone up. Their ability stayed the same. They got the same $100 burning a hole in their pocket, but they just watched that movie on top of that, right? Okay, so now it's gone up. Now, hopefully Disney does the right thing and increases the supply. And if Disney increases the supply, this is what it would look like. You don't have to do this. Don't write this down. I'm just showing you. If Disney increased the supply, what would happen to the price? It would stay the same, right? So since if Disney increased the price. But if they're like, oh no, we're gonna not increase our supply, we're just gonna allow the price to go up, all right, to offset. You know, they could do that. Companies do that. All right. You're almost done. Hang in there, okay? Hang in there. So now look, in number 4, look at number 4 on your paper. All right, now we've moved the demand curve. Now let's move the supply curve, okay? Everybody good? We ready? Everybody good? Okay. Again, I've just picked one of those 6 boxes from your lecture from yesterday. The Consumer Product Safety Commission has banned the selling of lightsabers to all children under the age of 8 due to the increased risk of injury. Chart out a new S2 curve. Well, here is the sellers right here. What will happen at these prices? Are we going to produce more or less because of this news? Good. We're going to produce less of this news. Let's just cut everything in half. Instead of 500 made, we're going to sell 250. And then let's say 500 here, and then 1,000 of them here, and then maybe 2,000 of them here. Mom and dad, when they go through that gift shop and they have a 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old, now they're out, right? Now they're out. So the producer is going, well, let's just go ahead and decrease our production. So when you chart this out, if the supplier, Disney, cuts supply, just to let you know, is going to move to the left. You knew that from yesterday when you were doing your curves. When supply decreases, now pay attention to the words that come out of my mouth right here. When supply decreases and demand stays the same, what will happen to price? Good. Here's the new one. Here's the new E3, the new equilibrium price. We have charted S2 because this is the S2 line. Okay. And this is the D2. Okay. See that? See how that's the D2? Don't look right here because that's the D1. We've already moved the demand curve. You see that? All right. So that one is the D1 curve. So don't look right there. We want to look at, there you go. We want to look at D2. Oh. We want to look at D2 and S2, which is right there. And then when we do that, it's gone up. Now, last little point. Obviously, demand in that scenario would also go down. All right. And so then what you would have is you would have a decrease maybe in demand, and then maybe it's a big decrease. All right. So maybe you have a demand curve that was like really drastically decreased, and then look what happened. Whoops, sorry, not that one. There it is right here. D3, S2, all right. So the price would go back down. All right, because demand would go back down. But I just wanted to show you that. So yeah, so this is the one. Yeah, 100. And we just played with that based on the effects, okay? So now what you guys are gonna do is you're gonna go and you're gonna do your own. You cannot use any of my numbers. You gotta change your product. You gotta change the numbers, which means you can't use 500, you can't use 1,000, you can't use any of these numbers, okay? You gotta change all these numbers, the prices and the quantities, change the product, and create your own scenarios as to why these supply and demand curves would shift. Work it out. What I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna keep the Zoom open the entire time. And if you get stuck while you're working on this, pop back in and we'll work on it. You'll share your screen with me and we'll work on it together. If you go all the way through it and you're smooth, then that's great, okay? Tomorrow, you're gonna have a test on this. So I'm gonna talk to you, I'm gonna have some questions about demand. I'm gonna have some questions about supply, and then I'm gonna have some questions about what we just did right there, okay? You guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging out and hanging in. I'll see you tomorrow. All right, my people in here. So
Are you going
obviously,
to watch the link?
no, not yet, Cedric.